How are you doing? Welcome to live stream number 150. Today we are going to talk about a couple of other new things. Last Friday, last CAM live stream, we talked about some of the new functions inside of Fusion 360 in this April release. Today we're going to round that out. I'm going to show you another new thing that we didn't talk about last week, machine configuration. So that's exciting. My name is Lars Christensen. Thank you so much for taking the time to join these live streams here. Really appreciate it. So, couple of new things that you should definitely know about. Before we get to machine configurations, I probably need to make up for last week here. So, last week when we did the what's new inside of CAM. Let's go into CAM here inside of Fusion 360. That's where we want to be anyways, right? When we went into the tool library and we went in and wanted to create like a new turning tool, for example, I talked about how there was a new custom function, but as you can see, it's not there under holders. The same thing if you go into inserts. And I should have done my homework. I should have practiced. So I had checked that was not there. So a good question from a few people. Wait, where is that function? Well, so I showed it Monday, but I know that some people just tune in on Fridays for the CAM stuff. The problem was that it was actually never released from beta. What it should have been done when it was actually the full-blown release. So let me show you. You can actually get into beta. There is no, with other software that I've used in the past, it was kind of like a secret handshake and, some kind of hazing or something like that to be in a beta program and disclose and all that stuff. You don't need that with Fusion. What you do to get into the CAM beta mode is, there's a few clicks you should know about. And of course, remember, you can always rewind the videos here if this goes a little bit too crazy. So click on the menu up here, and if you go down here, there's something called View, and you can go in and you can click Show Text Commands. You click on that, and this menu pops up down at the bottom. Now, one thing that is important: make sure that this button over is put to text. I think by default it's over here. I don't know what PY stands for. What text? We want text. And then you can click down with your cursor and you can actually type in here. And what you type is CAM, C-A-M, dot, beta mode, spacebar, / and type in on. And then hit enter. And you will get a little notification that beta mode is on here. Now you can turn this menu off again by going back up here, go to View. Now you hide the text command, so now it's back to normal. But now you have access to the beta functions that are inside of with CAM inside of Fusion. So if we go back up to the tool library, and we go up here to back to the turning tool, and we're in the insert right now. If you click on that, you will now see that now there's that custom function there. So now you can create completely customized insert, whatever you kind of want. And the same thing for the holder. If I go over there now, you go down and click at the bottom here, and you click custom, and now you have that there. So that was important. So it was actually never released from beta mode. Now if you want to turn beta mode off again, you kind of do the same thing as in reverse. Go and click on the file drop down, View, Show Text Command. Now this command shows up again. Make sure it's on text. Click in the area down here and then just type the cam.beta mode again, / and then you just type off this time. And that will turn it back off again. You can hide that text command in here. And now you will see if I go back into the tool, turning tool, and now you will see that I don't have that custom function. So that was just a little a little making sure that you know, that function. But last Friday, I was kind of scratching my head that I knew there was going to be a custom function was not in there. That is how you turn that on. So, with that, let's go in and talk a little about this new function inside of Fusion 360. This new function is machine configurations. So right now, if you go in and create a setup, you will see the normal dialog box in here. But if you go up and click on your name, you go to Preferences, and there is this function down here that is Preview. So this is kind of, it's somewhat like a beta mode, but it's a little bit, I think I would call it a bit more public. And a new thing you will find in here is CAM machine configuration. Now, it's important to say that this is previewed mode. This is like the first kind of like we have seen of this. Now, if you check it, click OK here, hit apply, and you can read a little bit about what it says in here. We're going to go into that. Hit apply, hit OK. Now, when I go and click on the setup menu, you now have this machine section in here that you didn't have before. If you click on that, you get this machine configuration. Now, it's important to say that this is in preview mode. This is like the first. This is like the first taste of this. What is machine configuration really about? Well, it's not something that it's not brand new in the world of CAM. But it's a way to set up your machine, like your travel of your machine. I'll go through it just in a second. You can set up the different travels of the machines, spindle speeds and things like that. Really tying your CAM package into your machine. Honestly, I have used other CAM software in the past that had similar functions, and I never really used it. But that is one of the differences here with the Fusion team, the development team is, and they have talked about this for a while, and one of the things is they want to make it so it really works. So they're going to put a lot of thought into a better way to do this than just punching in a bunch of numbers that doesn't really do anything. We're going to see a lot of those things. We're going to see all their, you know, those guys are stinking smart. We're going to see all their brain power later on in this tool. But what it will let you do is it will let you, well, actually, you can load. If you click the load button down here, they have actually added a few in there that you can bring up in here. Now, I went in and I created my own documents, and you save it out as a machine file in here. If you ever used HSMWorks, this will be very familiar to you. Now, the one I created earlier and saved it out, I saved out a Haas Super mini mill here, just so we had something we can click through. So you can see here that you can put in kind of like your machine, the overall thing, and when you fill this out, you probably want your manual for your machine close by. You can put the dimensions in of the machine, the weight in the machine. Then you can put in some capabilities, what the machine kind of can do. What is your work piece maximum? You know, how big of a part can you put in there? What is the travel? You will see the kinematics in here. So here you get into, you know, all those different, what can the different axes do? And I haven't tested this out, but supposedly, if not now, then at some point, I would imagine that these things are all going to talk to your post processor. So what you ever set up in here will have a dialogue with the post processor. Now, like I said, I haven't checked it out, so I'm not going to say you can do that right now, because that probably takes a little bit of brain power to get all that in there. Your spindles, you can put in like your max RPM, so the Haas Super Mini Mill comes with 10,000 RPM. You can put in like your tool changing time. what type of coolant do you have on the machine. You can specify your post processor right in here, so it pulls that. All those things you can put in here right now. What it will do right now, like I said, this is like preview first round. But what it will let you do is that if we, let's just go out of this for a second. Let's call up this plate. That was the plate we did last Friday. So if I go into CAM and I create a setup, so we're gonna go and select our machine. Again, you can kind of do different things. I just loaded up the machine that I created this machine myself. And now if I go in here, do the Z-axis, so we set it all up the way we would normally do it. But now it knows that we're going to run this on this Haas mini mill. So if I go in here doing facing operation, for example, and I select a facing tool, and I know that the RPM, I'm just going to be ridiculous, but I know that the RPMs was 10,000. So if I say that I want to run this spindle by 12,000, hit OK, then you will get that type of warning that, you know, now the CAM software actually knows what your now they know what your spindle speed is, and you can now get, you know, that kind of feedback right there. So that is the idea behind these machine configurations, that you can actually really now tie it into your different machines. And of course, many people have multiple machines, so that's why you can actually have different machines in. You see here, you can get kind of like a drop down in here. So let's just do a blank one, so we can just kind of like look at it here. So maybe we do a description. Many places, when you do descriptions, you're actually doing something like your you have a number for your machine. So MC, you know, 12 for that machine. Let's do a I think it's an ND 4000 Mori, just to try something else. DMG Mori, right? And whatever control you want on them, Heideheim or Fanuc. I can't spell Heideheim, so this is gonna be a Fanuc. And then you can start plugging in all the different dimensions in here. So we're doing metric right now, but I have all these tied down just because I have no way I would be able to remember these in my head. But I actually looked them up. So you can get, you know, the different things in here. You know, number of tools. The smallest one does 20 tools. Feed rates, maximum tool length, maximum weight. Same thing with like your work pieces. You know, what is all that in there? Something like your spindle, that one actually has 12,000 RPM, so that one would have worked with our fly cutter. Well, I don't know how often you're running a fly cutter at 12,000 RPM at this net size. So this is the idea, that you can start typing in these different things depending on what you have in here. And then in the end, you can then save it where either in, you know, wherever, like I created a folder called Haas, so I'll probably create one called Mori, right? Or whatever, just call it my machines, and save these definitions in there, so you can pull them up, and then you have those different ones in there. So this year, like I said, this is brand new, and something that that the team is definitely going to be working on. So now you have the MC12 over there that you could now go out and grab. So this is, I think this is exciting. I think this is somewhat interesting because it is kind of like connecting, you know, the CAM to the machine. And another thing we got to talk about in this live stream soon is Fusion Production. What is another product that is brand spanking new that would actually let you monitor your machine. So yes, so this kind of like starts creating a more of a better envelope where instead of being so separate with Cam over here, your CNC machine is over there, they don't talk to each other, there's no kind of communication. You now with this starting having that connection. So definitely going to see a lot more with the machining configuration. Just to show it again, if you came in late, you have to turn it on in the preferences here. You click on preferences, you go down to the bottom here, and in the preview section, again, this is a demo type mode or beta mode. You can turn it on right down here, and then you will have, when you go into setup, you will now have that machining option in there where you can select your machine with the configurations. Now, like I said, there's still a lot of work to be done with this, and I definitely know that the developers are going to do, they're not just going to throw it out there, they're actually going to put some thoughts into it, so that is super exciting. One other thing that is not new, but I just came across somebody who did not know about this the other day, and that is, if you go back into your preferences, I want to make sure that you are aware of that in the CAM section, you actually have something called Enable Cloud Libraries. Now, by default, this is not turned on. But if you turn this on, Enable Cloud Libraries, and you go into your tool library, you will actually get, we have the local library. You have that all the time. That is like your standard local library. But then you have a cloud library that you can also use. And what is great about the cloud library is, instead of storing all your tools, when you make your customized tools, instead of storing them locally in your machine, you can store them out in the cloud, what means that if you ever go to somebody else's machine, you can actually pull your tools down. So here's the form mill we created a while back, sitting in the cloud here. So that gives you the option to save all those tools you're creating to the cloud. The way this works is you literally just right click up here and you can create a new library. That will give you a new library down here, and you can give that a name like that. You should probably spell, if you're gonna write live stream, you should probably spell it right. And you can put that in there. And then the way I work with a lot of these libraries is, so you have your part here. This is the part we have on the screen, and you can go in. I will many times use the default library here. Select one of these tools as my tool, and you can actually take that tool, and then you can copy it to your live stream or your folder, customized folder over here, and then I will go in here, right click on it and select edit, and now I can change the cutter that I have. Maybe don't have 50 millimeters flute length, maybe it's only 40 or 30 or whatever. You can kind of start doing these different, let me see, it's warning me because I made that 40, so let's make that 35. So you can start, did you see that warning? Because I said that the flute length here was less, or the body length was less than this, I got a warning. If I make this, 32, then actually it tells me you can't have that 32 if you have the shoulder length. That means you're not holding on to the right thing. So there's also some cool intelligence right there. Ha! Good job, Fusion. So then I will go in and modify these, and now I have that tool in my library right there. All right, so that was what I'm planning on showing this Friday here. I hope that there was some new interesting things. Don't forget, if you want to get those custom inserts and custom tool holders in the latest environment, you have to go in and turn the beta mode on. And if you missed that, just go rewind back into to the recording of this, and you can see how you turn that on. Machine configurations. I think that's exciting, and it's going to be interesting to see what that kind of like is going to evolve into over time. But where you now can actually start specifying your machines, I'm excited to see where it's going. And then in the end, just want to make sure you knew those cloud libraries for your tool. You can actually store all your tools up in the cloud. So if you ever go over on somebody else's machine, you can actually pull it. Oh, I should show you one more thing before I turn off. Those cloud libraries or the tool libraries actually live. If you go out to the root of your panel here, to where your name is, and you scroll down to the bottom, that is where those cloud libraries live, right inside of what the folder is called assets, sitting right here. Libraries, assets. Double click on that, and right in here is those different tools, tool libraries in there. You can see the live stream one we just created is in here, so that might be helpful. Friends, I really appreciate you taking the time to join these live streams. Just trying to add a little bit more value to your Fusion 360 experience. If you like this, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up. If you don't, hey, be honest and do the thumbs down. I want your honesty here. It's Friday. We made it. We simply made it, folks. That's it. I will end the broadcast. So if you're watching the recording, thank you so much for taking the time for that. If you're inside the live stream chat, I'm going to jump in there and say hi to everybody. So, until Monday, have an awesome